Gem International is a new diamond explorer in the richest diamond producing country in Africa, located next to the fourth largest producing diamond mine in the world. International Spotlight is on an 1109 carat diamond recently discovered in Africa by a fellow Canadian junior with a proven operator and finance team. Gem International trades on the TSX Venture Exchange, symbol GI. Visit us at gemdiamondmining.com.
Welcome to the Goddard Report. Comments made on the Goddard Report and TalkDigitalNetwork.com are an expression of opinion only. Here is Jim Goddard.
My guest is Sharon Noble, Director of the BC Coalition to Stop Smart Meters. Welcome back to the show, Sharon.
Hello, Jim. How are you?
I'm doing great. Security issues, again, raising their ugly heads about smart meters. Can you explain?
Yes. Well, this is a big one that has not yet been addressed by Hydro. One of the major things is, as we know, is that anything that's wireless is hackable. And the smart grid is very, very vulnerable because the vast majority of it is wireless. There have been many, many people in the security world, Petraeus, the Homeland Security, CIA, many agencies in the U.S. who are warning that the most vulnerable part of the smart grid is the smart meter. And yesterday in my update I circulated a manual on how to hack into a cell phone. It's very detailed, and this technology, the smart meter technology, is very similar to a cell phone. If people can use this instruction manual to hack into a cell phone, they could use it to hack into our smart meters. And people who have hacked into the smart meters are saying it's not very tough to do. Now, the thing is, the information that they would get from a standard smart meter is usage. They could look at patterns to determine when people are home and when they leave and this sort of thing. But once the Zigbee chip is activated, and this is the chip that communicates back and forth with smart appliances that also have a Zigbee chip, a little tiny computer chip in it, they'll be able to tell just about anything that's going on in our home, what appliances we're using, when we're using them, this sort of thing. And there are major concerns that are being raised by civil liberty associations and things like this, but as well as the national security agencies. And what is concerning is, despite all of these warnings, BC Hydro hasn't done a thing. There is nothing in its business case that speaks about cybersecurity. And every time this issue is raised with them, the only thing they say is, there's encryption. Well, it's been shown time and time again that encryption does not do it. It does not provide the type of security that we need and deserve. Our meters are vulnerable, and entrance into the meters can be an entrance into the smart grid. And this can bring the entire thing crumbling down. And we better face the fact that Hydro's not going to do anything about it. We have to protect ourselves. And the best way to protect ourselves is to get rid of those smart meters and get our analogs back.
Has any jurisdiction done that?
Well, some of them are refusing, and also are granting people the right to keep their analogs, for instance, in Ohio, because many people have raised these cybersecurity concerns. The Ohio Public Utilities Commission is allowing people to keep their analogs because of cybersecurity issues. They're also saying if people don't have a cybersecurity issue, they can go ahead and have a smart meter. But more and more people are becoming educated on this topic. And as they do, I believe more people are going to demand that they get their analogs back. Now, in many, many states and other jurisdictions, people are given the option. Here in British Columbia, we have not been given that option. We don't have the choice to keep our analogs. We need to get after the BC Utilities Commission and demand that we have the right to protect our homes from invasion by hackers. We have the right to demand that our privacy as well as our security is maintained. And that can only be done by getting rid of these things.
Has the issue been raised by the BC Civil Liberties Association with the BC Utilities Commission?
Not yet. I raised it with the BC Civil Liberties Association some time ago, and they said that there was really nothing they could do until there was a breach of privacy. And when I asked them, how would we know if our privacy had been breached? They had no answer. At the time, the issue that I was raising was that our data was going to be used by third parties. BC Hydro will have a lot of our personal data, and they can make big money by selling it to third parties. We won't know when this data is being sold, just as you don't know when you're using, you're going on Google, and all of a sudden, start looking for a product, say a hair dryer, and then all of a sudden you start getting dozens of ads for hair dryers, or you check Alaska Air to find out about an air flight, and all of a sudden you start getting all these ads for resorts in the area you were looking for. Our data has been sold, and Hydro will do the same thing. And it's very difficult to prove where someone got the data. But that's what the BC Civil Liberties Association told me way back when. I've sent them a lot of information about the cybersecurity issue, but I have not received a whole lot of response from them. I think it's up to us to write and express our concerns to Hydro, to the BC Utilities Commission, and to the BC Civil Liberties Association. And maybe if enough of us do it, they'll start taking some of this stuff seriously. If I'm the only one writing, or if there are only a couple of us writing, it doesn't get a whole lot of traction.
With security being such a big concern, why should you be charged for keeping your analog to keep secured?
Good question. Same question. Why, when there's an issue of fires, when we know that these things are fire hazards, why should I have to pay $32.40 a month to keep my analog, which is not a fire hazard? Same question, Jim. Try to get BC Hydro to admit that any of these things are a problem. They won't. They deny. They obfuscate. And they just downright lie at times.
Yes, the 3D philosophy of public relations from the government or government agencies: defer, deny, deflect.
Yep, exactly. And that's what Hydro does very, very well. People are asking them questions, and the answers you get back make no sense in many instances. In other times, you get a form letter that doesn't relate to anything that you've asked. You can ask a question, A, and you get the answer to C. It's like send out form letter number 220. It makes no sense. It's not relevant. It's not pertinent to what you've asked. But that's what you get.
Has the BC Utilities Commission commented further on the fire hazard?
No, and it's in my ballpark right now. The response that I got back was that it was up to me to appeal and to provide, quote, persuasive evidence. Some evidence that would be enough to persuade them. Apparently having evidence on 8 fires isn't enough. And they never came back and asked me for more, even though I told them I had a lot more information to give them. They never got back to me to ask. Therefore, I'm appealing. I am in the process right now of writing and giving evidence galore. I'm going to give them fire reports. I'm going to give them evidence that the fire commissioner is not getting fire reports. I'm going to give them evidence that the BC Safety Authority is not being advised about electrical fires so that they can come in and inspect. The entire system is broken, and BC Utilities Commission has admitted that there are, quote, major gaps, but still they deny that there's any reason for concern. I mean, frankly, I think it's crazy. How can you say that they don't know what's happening, but they're sure that there's no problem?
Well, a lot of judges will tell you in a case like that, it's called willful ignorance. It's like thinking you've run over somebody, but you don't stop to look.
It's willful negligence, yes. Harmful negligence or willful blindness. Yep. It's as if you don't look, you won't find, and no one's looking. Don't ask me how they can say that because I've given them 8 fires and evidence that the meters have been destroyed, have failed, that I've given them evidence to show that the quote, Len Garris report upon which everyone is hanging their hat is a worthless piece of paper, not worth the $15,000 that he was paid. I don't understand how they can just ignore it. But they are, and I think that what they're hoping is that I will just shut up and go away, that enough people are not complaining, are not demanding some sense of responsibility from our Crown Corporation and from these public panels. I think that they are hoping that we will just give up.
We'll have more with Sharon Noble right after the break.
I'm Larry Ray, President and CEO of American Manganese, Inc., listed on the TSX Venture, ticker symbol AMY, A-M-Y, with proprietary patents in the U.S., China, and South Africa. Our focus is on recycling lithium-ion batteries for electric vehicles. China recently legislated the responsibility for recycling onto their electric vehicle manufacturers and importers. For more information, please visit AmericanManganeseInc.com or phone me, Larry Ray, at 778-574-4444.
In Goddard we trust.
Welcome back. We're speaking to Sharon Noble. Sharon, I know you've always talked about radiation hazards to our poor little brains from all these microwaves. What's your opinion of these wireless earbuds that you have to use with the new iPhone 7?
Man, that's like shooting, multiple cell phones through your brain. This is ridiculous. And quite a few scientists have spoken out already saying that this is a very, very dangerous thing to be providing. So many people, especially children, use these things. These are putting wireless devices into your ears on either side of your head. This is crazy. I mean, it's bad enough having an iPad that you're putting on your waist or holding it in your pocket, but to have your wireless ear pads plugged right into your brain? This is absolutely nuts, Jim.
And of course, what a marketing tool to have things sticking out from your head that obviously are going to get brushed off, knocked off, fall out. Huge sales thing as well.
Yeah, but the sad thing is that people are going to be made sick by this. They already are being made sick, and they don't make the connection because no one's being told. It's not out in the media. And they're not allowing anyone to put labels, warning people that these are radiation-emitting devices. So people don't know. And things are getting worse. The companies are coming up with these new devices all the time. And TELUS, for instance, is putting these microcells right outside homes. These are things that people don't know are being put outside their homes. Mere feet. Sometimes less than 20 feet from a bedroom window. We're being irradiated all day, and we don't even know it, and we're not being given the information to take any precautionary measures.
Well, I heard from a researcher in Austria, he calls it the electronic fog, all these microwaves, and he expects our overall IQ will drop because of it.
The electrosmog, that's what they're calling it, and it is. And it used to be we only had to worry about the cell phone towers and cell phones. But now it's everywhere. And they're putting wireless devices on homes and in modems that are making your home a Wi-Fi hotspot that they can sell to people. This is happening in the U.S. with Verizon. It could be happening here, and we're not being told. Shaw and TELUS are putting these brand new gateway modems in people's homes. We don't know but what these are also hotspots because they're very, very strong. We accidentally had some put in our home for a day, and my RF meter just went crazy. These are very, very strong. And these microcells that are being put on hydro poles are being put and aimed at people's homes. And we aren't being told very much information about this, but what TELUS does say is that these are being put in areas where cell phone reception is not very good. So this means these are little cell transmitters. Instead of being put on towers where you can see them, they're there, and you can object to the sighting, they're putting these outside people's homes on hydro poles, and they're aiming them straight at your homes. And they're putting them up and down streets. sometimes just 100 or 200 meters apart. This is terrible. And because most communities don't have antenna siting consultation policies, they're doing this without telling anybody. And even in communities like in Colwood, where we had the first antenna siting consultation policy in British Columbia, perhaps even in Canada, our council is ignoring it and have allowed these things to be put in because TELUS didn't tell them the truth. They didn't tell them what they were. These are cell transmitters. They're no different than the cell transmitters that we've been fighting for being put outside schools and homes. These are things that are going to be irradiating people all day and all night, even if you're not a TELUS customer.
Are these new cell phone towers using the same kind of radiation that they banned in Britain because they were causing military personnel to suffer from cancer?
I cannot answer that because I'm not familiar with what they banned in Britain. I know that these are the same sort of things that people are getting very serious illnesses from. The electrosensitivity is terrible. People are having to leave their homes. Children are being made sick. They can't go to school because of the Wi-Fi. It's the very same microwave radiation that is a to-be carcinogen, and that many scientists are saying should be a full-blown carcinogen. These things are dangerous, and they're proliferating like crazy, Jim.
Do smart meters have lithium batteries?
Yep, they do.
Is that one of the reasons they're a fire hazard?
That's one of the reasons they're fire hazards. Not all smart meters have lithium batteries. Itron meters that we have here in British Columbia have lithium metal batteries, which are very dangerous when exposed to heat, for instance, sitting in the summer sun all day, or exposed to moisture. And these meters do leak. There was a fire in Vernon, in a restaurant, where the smart meter leaked, and it caused a fire after water got in. Other brands of meters use lithium batteries or capacitors. Catalytic capacitors, I think is what they're called. And these also burn. Yep. They need things like this to be able to keep the data, so if the power goes out, they can keep your usage data so that they can bill you appropriately.
Sharon, anything else that we should keep an eye on right now?
Nothing that I can think of right now. I'm still fighting the fire issue. I think it's major. And I also think that people, as I've said before, need to be looking at the BC tariff. I'm hoping in the next week to have a response prepared for the BC tariff, in which they are weakening all of our rights and granting themselves all sorts of immunity. These are things that are very major right now.
Isn't that something that the Civil Liberties Association should also look at?
Perhaps. I haven't gone to that yet. Your civil liberties, whether you have the right to hold hydro responsible if your appliances are damaged because of their faulty equipment, I would think that would be something that the Civil Liberties Association might get involved with. But as you know, Hydro has in their tariff, as does Fortis, that it says that even if a home or homeowner suffers damages caused by their faulty equipment or by their negligence, they're not liable for any damages.
Sharon, thank you so much for chatting with us.
My pleasure, Jim. Look forward to talking with you again soon.
And are there any websites people should check out?
Yes, we have two. www.citizensforsafetechnology.org and www.stopsmartmetersbc.com.
My guest has been Sharon Noble, Director of the BC Coalition to Stop Smart Meters. You're listening to the Goddard Report on TalkDigitalNetwork.com. Find us on Twitter at TalkDigitalNet. Our YouTube channel is Talk Digital Network. Questions for the show can be sent to info@HowStreet.com. I'm Jim Goddard. Thanks for listening.
Comments made on the Goddard Report and TalkDigitalNetwork.com are an expression of opinion only. The Goddard Report is available online and mobile at TalkDigitalNetwork.com. The Goddard Report is a production of How Street Media Incorporated.